Ease unveiled. Life is still swell. They can't keep me down. So I'm back with another round, standing my ground here at the home with historical farm. And I realized there has been some changes made. Yesterday, my mom told me that she was going to get the grass cut. So I told y'all about some things with CG and cutting grass. Sometimes we're just supposed to let the grass grow. However, there's some people that's trying to infiltrate my home and my business and my family. So, like among other royalty, I have to get the treacherous snakes out the grass. And as you all may have known, sometimes the monarchs and the patriarchs can be poisoned through their mind. They're not well sometimes to rule the kingdom or the queendom. And as you all may have known, it may fall upon the ear to make everything the way it should be in the land and in the realm. So that's what I'm dealing with right now. I'm trying to be graceful and have as much as diplomacy as possible and just carry the heavy crown that is upon my head. um, some of the things that I'm dealing with is, basically friends and family being fake. The person that I was, with, I realized again for another time is like everyone else, even the people listening and watching, dropping change on me, dropping dimes, moving things, doing witchcraft and stuff like that. And, I can't really fault anybody because that's how everybody is, that's what everyone's doing. But they're really not everyone, and they're not everyone because everyone is in me. So if they were really with me, they wouldn't be doing things that are counteractive towards me. Um, some of the things that I realize is that, just me speaking and breathing and moving around in certain areas spiritually before I reincarnated into my body essence, I realized that some of these places have been fashioned just for me. When I first got out of jail, I was living with my sister, and across the street, um, there is not only was there a library, and in the word library, we have library, and it's close to the word Libra. And there's, speaking of that, there's the opposite signs. There's Aries and Libra. That's AL. They're opposite signs. There's Aquarius and Leo. That's AL. That represents Allah. Those are opposite signs that both have A and L in it. So that's not a coincidence when we're talking about Greek and Greek astrology and things like that. There's certain things that when we use Greek and Roman astrology that go back to Kemet and Chinese astrology, it's all in accordance. But what I realize when I'm using certain words from the Gregorian calendar, it can be counterintuitive sometimes to what I am trying to do and I'm trying to manifest. Even speaking here on this live recording, it could go against me. So what I realized is living with my sister, there is a store where a lot of people get cigarettes from, and people call single cigarettes Lucy's. And as if you may have remembered in anthropology class or just in your studies, the first woman supposedly was called Lucy, which refers to Eve. And in the past, myself and my sister would get cigarettes from there, and the store is called Sam's. That word Sam backwards is the word mass. And we know what mass is when they're trying to have Christ masses, when they're trying to have massacres, like basically, everyone seeing that the grass was pretty tall. They just tried to do a massacre and cut my mother's grass the day that I came back to my mother's house because I wasn't, even though my mom and my siblings are doing things that are against them, because they're not as courageous as I am, or they might not have the same belief as me, or be on the same mission and path as me. Um, I don't want to say I'd rather deal with it with family, but dealing with it with Neanderthals versus that are friends versus niggas that are family members, it really doesn't make a difference to me because they're all disrespectful, and I really can't tell anybody apart at this moment. And you know, and so the store across the street is called Sam's, and people get cigarettes from there. Well, on the side of my mom's house, there is. a Masonic lodge, supposedly, with another C word church. That's called that's called Sam's. It's named the Samaritan Church. And just recently, where I was at, across the street is a car, another C mechanic place that is acronym spell out Sam backwards. It's MM auto, and then it has the S, and backwards that's Sam. So I realized they wanted to this spring, this SP ring have me living across the street from places that have the word Sam and Mass. And we know the word Sam and Mass connects to religious organizations. It connects to Samaritan, it connects to the summer, it connects to um Sumerians, which are benign. I don't want to say benign because I have the word ben in my energy, but it basically is, some of you know, it might be some disagreeable energy. It some people call it Satan. Everybody refers Satan is close to Santa and everything, and Saturn, and that's a lot of the energy I have. And what I realize is they're trying to keep me low. They're trying to keep my frequency down. And way before we even moved into our homes, bought our homes, rented our homes, leased our homes, we came into our parents. And in the word parents, we have the word rent, and in the word please, we have the word lease. So I just want people to know that before you even moved, before we even one me even moves into their place, it's already been assigned. Even a vehicle, you think you're picking out that vehicle, but really that vehicle has already been assigned. um you'll notice certain things like paint jobs. There's when I revisit friends' houses, I'll notice that there has been a paint job, and they often use the paint gray. They'll change things up, they'll do remodels, me remodeling to the bathroom because they want to capture me on a Baphomet spell while I'm using their plumbing, which is connected to the plum, which is actual fruit. And we know, we've all heard about the riddle and the fairy tale when we know his name when he put his thumb in that plum pie and was in a corner. So I realized, that there has been like Pocahontas spells on me. We know that when Pocahontas, she wasn't a grown woman like in the Disney movie, the movie that's trying to diss me. Like I said, I'm connected to my knee energy. That's connecting to my ascension, and they're basically trying to diss me, and that's backed by Viacom, which is backed by the supposedly Jews. But I'm giving real jewels, I'm giving real truth, and I'm giving real knowledge. So um it's it's really a diss when Pocahontas in our reality was 10 years old. That's the age that I was when my mom came against me and she decided to join the gang, and start doing ill things towards me. And when I realized, like I said, the word, we're going through a Chiron. And like I said, my father's name has Chi on it, and that's connected to Chicago. And I know, just communicating with people, I was just recently communicating with people in the past and in the present with Chicago, and they're trying to misuse my energy, whether it's through phone, which has the word one in it, whether it's through email, which has the word mail in it. So if they're really trying to take the one mail that's really supposed to be in my life, and they're really trying to do, I know if you've all heard of the word like triangulation, they're trying to do triangulation and come against me through conversations. And it's really difficult when I'm dealing with the cult. That's why there's a word cult and the word difficult. And that's what I don't really want to label and classify these people, but that's what I call the code. I call it the difficult because it seems like they're always trying to put roadblocks in my path and things like that. So, like I said, I've just been recently, in the past month, I have transitioned from three places, all who are across the street from a place called Sam. And that's connected to the Romans. And I know that there's some past life energy that's still present in this life that I'm trying to make sure that there's a better life within this life and in the future. And so I realized things like just me turning the camera on animals, record animals. That has the word record animals. That's raw. That's disagreeable. If they walk in a background or fly in the background, that's one thing. But a couple of days ago, I didn't turn the camera when there was deer all around me. So I shouldn't show off the animals because they have their free will and they shouldn't have to be in recordings unwarranted because that is a human thing and that's a human device. And they already have to deal with us, deforesting and, have to deal with this high buildings and stuff like that and city versus having a, a, a natural, agreeable environment that they can live in. So it's important that we protect the animals because the animals are connected to the ancestors, animals' ancestors, and they help make this place a beautiful place. They cleanse it from some of the things that ill forces try to do, disagreeable forces try to do. And one of the things I realized in a lot of shopping areas and shopping plazas and malls, those are sacred grounds, sacred territories where Aboriginal people lived, where indigenous people have lived. And what they try to do is they try to put their corporations on top of the places that they lived. And that's what I've experienced. I've been to malls and I've seen all of these businesses mock me, and things like that. I'm able to look at the sun and look at what's across, and I'll see something like a Sunoco gas station parallel to the sun because they're trying to put me in a paradox. Because in the word paradox, they're trying to take the ox, and that's the bull. And currently, we're in a Taurus moon right now, and there's just a lot of energy that could be used for good, but some people like to use that energy for bad. you know um People use the word bad sometimes to compliment people, to make a good statement, to say something that's good. And there's a lot of acronyms that I'll speak about later on in some videos, and about the word bad and the word backwards, and about the word dab, which is a dance that people have been doing. So you know it seems like everyone that I communicate with, whether it be phone or text message or in person, has an ulterior motive, has been compromised, have been told to say things or do things to try to take me off the path and everything like that. And I realize, when I'm with people who don't have good intentions for me, and even though they act like they do, things get in a situation that's not good. But I don't feel like the walls are closing in, but I really can't say who's better than who because people are being deceived because they want to deceive. And that's the energy that I carry. I carry that energy. And they, like I was speaking about the store that sells Lucy's, they want me to be out the pack of cigarettes, to be a lone wolf. In the word alone, we have a lone, and that's connected to Allah, the one, the El, the law. And they don't want me to be with the pack of wolves. And I realize, I have a lot of wolf energy around me. There's a woman whose last name is Wolf, who's been copying off me and my mother's ideas for years, for decades. She's copying off of some of my fashion ideas, even using my name, Essence, right in our business. There's a lot of people doing it from all over the world, from all over the city, from all over the country. It's just some things that they do. And I know that some of the people that are listening to this message can relate to what I'm saying. I know some of the people that are listening are in high places, whether it be prime ministers, kings, queens, monarchs. I know some of those people are tuning in from different countries because they want to see how I'm handling these experiences, how I'm being tempered, how I'm being level headed, and if I'm handling the stress that comes with being, the art in the middle of the word earth, and in the middle on the sides of it are my initials, EH, Essence House. And I realized that just people are coming against me. It doesn't matter what race, it doesn't matter what country. There are good and bad people. There are people who are actually there for me from all over the world. And there's people who are against me from all over the world. So I'm not trying to let it defeat me. I am optimistic, but not too optimistic where I'm going to take an opportunity and be opted out. But there really are no opportunities without opposition. It seems like that. Even I even acknowledge where I'm about to go to now is an op. You know, they didn't listen to me. I told them not to text me, just to talk, because there's things that happens when you call and text someone. They're always trying to get the feminine energy of me, the feline energy. If you just heard what I just said, you'll realize what I said and what that brings together. So I realized they're always trying to come to certain parts of my organs. My alignment is connected with, you know, the realm that we call, that we label. And some people just want to get me in their space or be in my presence so they can try to disgrace me. And their goal is to dethrone me, but that's not going to happen. In the word throne, we have the word one, we have the word throne, and they cannot take that from me. Um, so, it's very difficult when my parents and my family or against me. And I know, like, people in the past, I know King Shaka Zulu in the past, his father wasn't for him, but his mother was there for him. And I've experienced that as well in my life. My father and my uncle have the same name as Shaka Zulu. They have the middle name. And for a while, my father, even though he was for me, he was doing things that he didn't know was against me. And my mom was for me, but she has joined forces because they have tried, because they took her parents. They took my grandfather when I was 10, and they took my grandmother when I was 26 years old. And those numbers aren't a coincidence. Like I told you in the past, I'm connected to the number 26. My grandmother was born on the 26. The 26 has a lot of my soulmate and twin flame energy, and they did it in a year that added to in 2016. They did it in 2016, and that adds up to 9. And this year, last year was 9, and last year is when my best friend, who's connected to my heart, who's named after heaven, who has heaven and earth, who's connected to me and my twin flame. They tried to take her, and what I realized is there's a lot of wars going on between so-called friends and family, and foes, and supposedly people who are supporters, who are basically trying to cross me to cross one another. And so a lot of that has to stop. It's really happened before I was born. And I'm not trying to be frustrated. I'm not trying to be around people who are trying to make matters worse. I'm trying to put myself in a better position. I have to move a certain way because a lot of people are trying to stop people from making sure that I'm doing the things that I need to do. Like I said, I'm working on my music, and so it's been really difficult. A lot of people have been telling, like, people not to work with me and things like that. But I'm working on my music currently, and so that's something that I'm presently doing, working on the music that I just shared with you guys. And I'm really not down because I realized that, the Most High has been hated and has been mocked since the beginning of time, and has had people that have disobeyed. And so I'm not going to try to complain too much because I know that all of my past lives and all of the messiahs and prophets and avatars that would reside within me have had to deal with similar things in this simulation. So I'm not, in the word sim, we have the word miss, and that's connected to Mississippi. And if you really think about the etymology of some of these rivers, like the Mississippi, I have realized that it sounds nice, but it can be used against energy, because some of these words have other meanings. If you study etymology, you'll see that the words have different meanings. For instance, the word season, we have the word sea, and then we have the word sun. So talking about things that are in season, talking about, the next season, people are really trying to see sun. And sea is connected to the shore, and shore is connected to the shine, and that's the sunshine. So when we're using these English words, we have to be we have to be we have to use it in a way that we're using it with higher vibrations, with good intentions. So the spelling and the cursiveness, people write in cursive, doesn't come um against us, because things are in arbitration. Like I said, things are triangling. So they just tried to try me with three different locations, all that had these different places, these strongholds that have next to them. I grew up with the store in my neighborhood being called Sam's, right on the same street. My brother is the best was the best friend, or is the best friend of the person that owns it, who inherits it, the owner's son, and they have something in common. My brother was born on Valentine's Day. His best friend was named after Rome. That deals with a lot of the same energy. And so I realized that me and my brother, we came together, and even though we have different fathers, our fathers are connected. We have the same mother, and we have a lot of the same energy. Um, I was born on St. Patrick's Day. Like I said, these holidays, these holy days are trying to puncture us and put holes in us. That's what they're really trying to do. As some of you may know, when they're talking about holy, they're talking about taking a bite out of us and getting a chunk and putting a hole in us. That's what they're really talking about when they mean holy. But also, it doesn't have to be that bad. There's whole grains. It can be wholesome. It can be whole. It doesn't have to be departed. Sometimes when people say peace and they're trying to emphasize togetherness and wholeness, they're really piecing something apart. They're really doing division. It's no wonder why the peace sign has three different pieces in it. And we know that the world has been colonized by English, Spanish, and French. And I'm dealing with a lot of pain from Spain. We know the language has ES in it, Española, like the word essence. So I'm dealing with a lot of that. I wrote songs about, my experience as a Moor in Spain, as the Spanish queen, and being captured. There was a Spanish acquisition, Christopher Columbus, that goes with CC. Ohio's right next to me. They have Columbus, Ohio. They have Indigenous Peoples Day in October. But why? People need to ask, why is it in October? October is related to the higher octaves. Higher octaves is related to the number 8. Our octagon is related to 8. Cleopatra the 8th, Cleopatra the 7th starter, was kidnapped by Octavia. So we really need to keep in mind, and then the word 8 in October is supposedly the 10th month. So when we add those numbers together, we have 8 and 10, that adds up to 9, but it's in the 10th month. Just like we have the word September, Sep represents 7, but it's in the 9th month. So we see that there are word plays and spells when it comes to 9/11, 7/11, in September, and some of the witchcrafts that they try to do. They try to have people text me at certain times. Some of it's good, some of it's bad, some of it's to let me know what's really going on. Email at certain days so they can triangulate with my energy and with opposite energy of me that's trying to literally get under my skin. And the word skin backwards is the word nicks. And a lot of people are trying to nick, whether it's nicking your clothing, things like that, whether it's nicking names, whether it's the actual nickel. And that's the energy that I've been dealing. They'll assign me a certain attorney, whether it's a court appointed attorney that's really trying to mock the creator, the all, and they'll use their names to come against me and the Most High. Um, for instance, I was just around someone who has the word Nick in their name. I was just talking to an attorney who, attorney lawyer. That's like Aquarius Leo, Aries Leo, attorney lawyer. We have that Allah going on. Their name is Nick. It took me to call another lawyer who actually is dealing with some of the things as me. She dealt with someone who who had a business that had the word wolf in it, who was in a Nathaniel. She's an Aboriginal like myself, and she realized that she couldn't be with him once she got to the banks of Africa. It gave her pain. I was just surrounding Nathaniel, and they were trying to jack me up using their name to try to come against me on some Pocahontas Jack stuff. And like I said, in October, they're trying to do the Draculin spell on me. So no wonder where they're trying to jack me up when I'm with someone named Jack who has the same sign as whether I'm a Virgo, you know what I'm saying? The man that I've been with for almost 2 decades of Virgo, they're a Virgo. And we were set up when we were riding in that person's neighborhood, stopped by the police after going to a stronghold called Sheets. That's really, people have the little costume sheets and everything like that. They were made because they're really trying to come against us. We were pulled over. It was all planned. We weren't speeding or anything like that. And we had no choice but to call someone to really ultimately put us in a situation that could jack us up. But they didn't mean to. They didn't name themselves that. They didn't name themselves that. My partner was giving the name or named themselves. I come from a lot of wolf energy. The person that's stealing from me, her brother has name is Patrick. I was born on St. Patrick's Day. They have the same name, Wolf. So there's a lot of just triangle just by me bringing my man around someone who has the same sign and name as him twice. Both two Virgos, a female and a male, both who have Wolf in her name, both who have the same sign as my man, and both who have the same name, Wolf, whether that be his nickname, Wolf, and they both have the same Virgo. And I'm the flow, I'm the ebb and flow. FLOW. What's that backwards? That's WOLF. That's wolf. So I realized what they're trying to do is a lot of howl at the moon spells, howling. They even have a club named Howl at the Moon. So I know a lot of countries and nations like myself internalize this with their intelligence, with emotional intelligence, with intellectual abilities, and try to keep these things secret so they aren't deceived and it's not being recorded by other countries so people don't go against them. For instance, I've been working on upcycled and recycled material for a long time. Well, the person who stole it from me, who wants to have the same initials as my man's. I brought him in an area where she was renting space. They want to triangulate the energy that I have around me. They even do it with vehicles. I'll get into that later. They're mocking me, they name their business Essence Eco. I've had essential farming. I've had Essence Eco. So now they're trying to upcycle clothing. That really doesn't bother me as much as corporations that has been open for hundreds of years who have been mocking me. A lot of the fashion brands, a lot of the car brands are trying to come upon my energy. A lot of my masculine energy have been set up. I have a lot of my feminine energy within inside of me have been set up before we even came together. We have been deceived even by our parents, even by our loved ones, even by our friends. And I know some of these people who are adults realize that. I know some of you may not talk as much as I do. I know yesterday someone said boom o'clock. Well, speaking of boom o'clock, BC, the banks are closing. The bank in Pittsburgh that's connected to, and it's a fraudulent bank, is really not the banks of the river or connected to my angles or my bangles of the ebb and flow that washes on the banks of the shore. They're trying to get the currency that moves through the currents and through the water. That's the true Tao. That's the true energy, but it's being captured in these strongholds. And I know that it can be scary for a lot of people, but I know that if we come together and we do what we need to do for one another as a community, and we don't come against each other, and we try to dispel some of the things that we're going through, things could get better. So I know some of my masculine energy may be offended, but I'm recording these things, that I'm recording them. However, I'm not able. There's so many treacherous people that are against us. I feel like, talking to our people, amongst the whole world, is the best thing that I can do to share our experiences, because we don't need the walls to close in. Like I said yesterday, the Bible says, the Bible. They're trying to say Bible on a tourist moon, but that's not what's really going to happen. They're trying to go through our biceps. They want to have there's biracial and there's bisexual, energy. Like they're trying to use, I don't know if you heard of the Orisha Isu Elegba, but my name is Essence Elizabeth. So I have a lot of that energy. Is connected to the Greek myth, the Greek and Roman astrology, which connected to African, and Kemet astrology is connected to my heart. That's why it's called African. They're trying to use American, Mexican, Canada, because I have Cancer in the seventh house. Okay, the seventh house is the house of the Libra. They're trying to, and the word Libra, we have Bill, Ra, and and backwards it's A-R, Bill. I have a brother named William. You know what I'm saying? Even these stronghold names that we might say are slave names have esoteric energy, and are trying to rick us with a rick. So we can't take these tricks. So I'm really trying to be ahead of the game. Libra has Ma energy. That's the sign that it represents. A lot of these opportunities are really trying to opt me out and mock me. I know some of you know about these brand investing gigs. Well, brand investing has the word "ba" in it, and I represent the Kaaba Ra, and they're kind of jealous. So what they're really trying to do is to get me to work on bond, and bond on work is bow. Like I said, I represent the rainbow. The bow is connected to the ribbon, and I am the rib. I feel the rib when I'm close to my masculine energy. I feel pain. That's why I know that I have to be careful when I'm talking about Spain and I'm talking about Española, because I don't want to reenact these white birds, these Portuguese ships docking on our lands, just even being guided around with Neanderthals, or people who aren't Neanderthals, people who are Negas with ill intentions, could come against me. And that's what I've just experienced. When at the river, that's connected to Raw River. When at the waterfall, that's connected to the Most High, the flyest. They're always trying to put us in the sky. And, I was struggling yesterday when I was trying to come up with some words to say to go to my post, to go to with the pictures that I just posted of some pictures that I took a couple years ago. I had to take them twice because I got into a fight where I got jumped. I got attacked in front of a church that was built where a blood bank used to be. Blood banks, they send the blood to vampires. They built this church. I told my mom I was going to go in there with my middle name, seeing what's really going on, because they closed a lot of the churches, and she ended up actually donating food from the church. They were trying to kick my dad out of the church. They were doing some ill things. So I went outside one day when it was raining, because I felt like it was raining, and the Most High is my old man. So while he was snoring, I felt like I needed to turn up. So I left outside and I started a fight with the biggest one I seen. And especially when they was told what to wear. I know you guys get told what to wear. So I fought them, and I ended up getting jumped by another woman and a man, and banged up really bad with a crate in my head, because they hate, and they stole my phone with all my pictures. So I took all the pictures over again, even better, same outfit, did my hair and makeup, put on my headdress. Y'all know Cleopatra wear wigs sometimes, sometimes I don't. Did all that and did my pictures again. And now I'm posting them up. And as I was posting them, I was going to, my friend had, be careful when your friend gives you clothes, because sometimes they're giving you clothes to try to do op things against you, depending on where they got. So my friend had gave me some shirts from Shein, and they're trying to use her zodiac sign, and her kids are all earth signs. All of them are earth signs like me. They're trying to use her energy against me. Her sign is what I have in my seventh house and everything like that. Like I said, Cancer. And she gave me some shirts that she couldn't fit anymore from Shein. And one of them had flowers on it. So I was gonna say something like, I was gonna say, hid in the clouds, hid in clouds. What's hid in the? That's a hit. Hid in the. Who made up that quote? Did some people made up that quote so they could try to summon and go to war with us? Hid in the clouds? Okay, they're not about to dethrone me and put my head in the clouds and put my man, head of the house, my woman, my feminine energy in the clouds. So I had to pause. And then I was going to put next to it, so below. Okay. Oh no, hold on. I'm talking about the flower shirt. So with the flower shirt, I was going to say feet on the ground. Feet on ground has the word fog in it, FOG. And I realized feet on ground has a lot of acronyms that I don't have right now on my list. But where I was just at had a fog machine and fog fluid. So I'm like, okay, feet on ground. All right, that's fog. And then I was going to put so below. I know they ain't trying to put my feet below. The feet's connected to the fish and the Pisces, and that's my soul. And I know they ain't trying to put us down under. So I didn't put that. And then there's someone who's been spying on me, who's been on the premises, who's been sneaking around. Their last name is Feets. I mentioned before that they tried to infiltrate me a long time ago with vehicles when I was in my bag, holding down the divine masculine, looking like Mrs. Claus, giving away toys. They tried to meet me at the very location of the place that actually cast spells on me when I was 4 years old, and had someone hit me with a 12-passenger van when I was working at a farm while my mom was working there. Like I said, they're called CEA. They're in Homewood. They're supposedly guarding is behind me. They're trying to backstab me. They're African Americans, and the owner's wife, they both co-own it, left a very evil message in her Quran on my friend and guidance teacher from Guinea, Africa's bed when they were killing her. They killed my grandmother. They killed my dance instructor, Mama Kadiotu, from the Republic of West Africa, because they loved me unconditionally. They didn't want them in my life. And I realized, like this song, Bia, Bia came out with this song. She came out with that Jacqueline energy. I just got away from Jack, the Nathaniel. They tried to caught me on Pocahontas stuff, apocalyptic stuff. POC, poke, cop. They just tried to get me. They tried to get Sacagawea, honky dory. They did door spells, door to explore. So if you were a honky, they trying to get to the door and trying to get the key. They trying to get the key to the streets. You know what I'm saying? So I just had to deal with all that knick-knack, paddywhack, give a dog a bone, jackal energy, and they were trying to take my head and my jacket from me. So I really had to get some things together and realize, okay, this person gave me this. This is a Mexican, Aztec, Mayan clothing. It's an article of clothing which you're wearing, you're warring. So I'm warring black, and black connects to the word blood, bleach, blue, bleak. We got to be mindful of these colors and the things that they mean. So it doesn't mean I'm wearing. Wearing is connected to tearing. But things need to be together because they're trying to tear us, especially in Taurus energy. And I realize the energy that I have today, me and the Most High have today, is going is in opposition. You know, we're in our past life with is in opposition with the moon today. So I really want to be mindful of they had this person with this sign, this op sign that we have in common. Give me this article of clothing. Let me not wear it again on another Friday, because it's like, oh, fog, gray on Friday. And that's the color that I'm wearing. I'm wearing something that I fought my sister in. It has a hole in it. Like I said, I'm from the hill, hole in leggings, heel. That's connected to my knee. So I wish that it wouldn't have to be so difficult with my family and my friends, because I don't want to keep on reenacting slavery, even using the word families, reenacting slavery. You know what I'm saying? Just with my cousin and Paul and father being so close together, cousin Paul, Cleopatra told me, being in the same neighborhood, being in the same area, and having the same blood lineage, and we have Caribbean roots, and I was able to look at some of the places that we're from, like where, like I deal with Patra energy, like Puerto Rico and Trinidad, that's Pat. You know what I'm saying? Dealing with a lot of that energy that we have to deal with, they're really trying to tap us out. Even when we come together, even when we have good intentions, they're trying to be counterintuitive. So, I'm really looking forward to what I have been doing is trying to look at other nations that I have been all around. I'm a part of the whole world. We're all a part of the whole world. Um, I've been looking at my past about how I have dealt with situations in the past, whether it be infighting, whether it be civil rivalry, whether it be nationalism from all parts of the world. We have dealt with imperialism. We know in Star Wars they have the imperialist march, but in the word imperial, it's not always negative energy. There's good energy in the word am. I am. So it doesn't always have to be used as negative. So um I'm also wanting and wishing that the leaders of today, the people who are in position, do have guidance from the Most High, do not get conquered and divided, or coming together, even though sometimes I know they come to get her and I am her, and I don't need these people coming together to get me. And that's what it seems like what's going on. People are coming to get me. People are trying to divide us, even with the word divine. So it's very important for me, to be in a space. They're trying to AC doocies me. Like I said, when I was in the mall, realizing all of these businesses are trying to mock me. I was just in a mall where one of the businesses is named after the street that I'm actually on that connects to my ancestors' names, even though it might be a Latin word. I'm connected to Latin. In the word Latin, we have the word 10. And in the word Latin, we have the word tall. And I am a tall, statuesque 10 figure. And there's a lot of 10-man spells that they're trying to do with the Wizard of Oz and everything like that. If you really think about it, um, um, in his story, he was an axe cutter. He was chopping wood, and he wanted to be with his lover, and a witch cast a spell on him every time he chopped wood with his axe. Okay, that axe, like I said, is connected to me. It's spiritual. It connects to my divine feminine energy, my soulmate energy. They're trying to take that away from me. Um, he became cold, and he became metal like. So these things that people are writing, they get possessed by the spirit to write these creations. I have even, and they have used my writings to do will to actually do things in the world in the past with books I haven't even released, poems I haven't released, songs I haven't released, things I have kept under of Scorpio in the 10th house. And sometimes I suppress things, even though I'm supposed to be using them to be revolutionary and transformative. But I'm really getting to the point where I'm able to piece everything together so everything's not separate. Um, I really don't wish to argue because I know it's not good for me. In the word argue, we have, raw in the word argue. So that can come against me and are trying to put me in positions to argue, to go back and forth, to do unnecessary things. It you know, that can be frustrating, but I'm not fickle. I am dealing with it with, the best I can, the best way I can do it. And you know, there's just a lot of ingenuine things going on. And in the word, we're currently in the month of June, that connects to the word engine, June. And I have a lot of that energy. Um, I don't wish to continue to just call and text people. I have Leo, and I have Gemini in the fifth house of Leo, which is connected to me and the Most High, which is connected to our nodes and our past life and energy. So I'm not trying to do too much calling texting because they're really trying to cat me. They're trying to take the Lyra galactical feline energy from me and mishandle it, whether it's people with the same sign that corresponds with Leo, whether they have the name Leo, Cleo, Leo, Cleopatra, whether it's the word, Leon, or, my grandfather's a Leo. Ray is connected, Ray Charles is connecting with a lot of that energy. He's a musician. So we got to be mindful of, our family members' names, our ancestors' names, the names of the people who are governing the community. The real governor is the Most High, and who's the high priest, and I am the high priestess. I am the real governess. But they could try to use that word against me. They try to use the word s and try to make it less. They try to suck me dry with the word success. So I'm being mindful of what's really going on and everything like that. They try to come against me and my lover. Even his own family cast spells on him. They had me doing some really disagreeable things in a neighborhood called Troy Hill. They just invited him to a party in Troy Hill, and in the word Troy we have TH, which is connected to Saturn. And I tried to tell him not to go because a lot of his family and my family try to get us caught up in spells, but ultimately people are going to make their own decisions. They want to celebrate graduations. He was upset that I was airing things out, but when everyone's shady, they're trying to slim me. They got these Eminem spells. I was just across the street from a place that had Eminem. There was this Nigerian from Lagos that was eating M&Ms from me. They trying to take the nut from the M&M. They trying to take my peanut butter baby. They want the nut. They want the tune. They got tuna spells. Nut backwards is tuna. They want the nutcracker. They think they're going to crack me and mine's fruits, but that's not what's really going on. And even though it's Venus Day and I have Pisces and Venus, we can't let that VIP Pisces and Venus try to pivot us and try to vice us. You know what I'm saying? There's a lot of, you know, energy. I'm realizing what they're really trying to do is have a verses with me in September, Virgo, September, VS versus. That's the next season. So I'm always trying to think ahead of the game, just like other people. You got to be steps ahead of these people because they have time machines. But a time machine like a trademark, like maybe Tuesday, Monday, let me tell you about it. Or TM, I'm connected with people who have the word TM, but they're not going to use them against me because with the time machine, what does the CERN machine have on a concern? Ma, the real Kachina, the real energy that's connected to the land. Like I said, the language is connected to the land. I'm not going to take anything from the shadow. I'm not going to take anything from the light. I'm not trying to devaluate Negus, and I'm not trying to devaluate Nathanaros because it seems like they're working together. Whether it's the Samaritan church that's up the street that have Negus in it, or Ginger, Nigers, or it is the Nathanael car mechanic place that was across the street in the neighborhood that I was just currently in. You know what I'm saying? That has a lot of my energy in it as well, just by me being present. They wanted us to be there. They wanted me to be making music there, living there. They wanted me and my man to be writing out there so they could go way back in the past and try to take our land hundreds of years ago. They needed us to do certain things in this present moment. And that's what they have done. I've realized by certain streets, by certain names, the name of certain parks, the name of the community, the name of the township, things like that. It has been things like that. So I got out of that situation. I'm not trying to judge that person. I really can't, really say who's better than who because everyone is having a certain attitude. Sometimes people just want to dis, defy goodness, d- defy the people that care about them, defy caregivers, and really try to compromise people by just the way they treat them. So I'm not really trying to judge them or take away from them because that ultimately may take away from me. So that's what I'm not really trying to do. I'm not trying to say, oh, everyone's against me. I'm just trying to come up with certain things that can make things better for all of us. Um, what I realize is the person that is sending me hearts, they told you to put up hearts and don't message either or don't like because they want to take your heart out. That's why they keep on telling you to heart me. Okay? Because whoever's sending hearts may have loved me, may act like they love me, but those hearts could come against us. And even though it connects to Africa, that has the word can in it, fry, we are a Friday, African. That's the Dutch word that connects to colonizers who named Africa. but it still identifies with us because, like I said, Friday represents Venus. I have Pisces in Venus in 4 degrees. 4 degrees connects to the sign Cancer. Venus connects to um, Taurus and Libra, and today is a Friday, so that's the love day. So I'm not going to take away from African, even though I may have thrown myself away when I was promiscuous as a youth, when my energy contributed to the Geneva Convention, and with me having Cancer supposedly in my seventh house, that's with Libra on a Friday. It connects with me. It connects with my heart energy, and they try to triangulate people with me and try to, say, oh, well, you don't compete where you compare, but we ain't about to do all them CCs and all that scrambling because nobody's going to put raw CE with me in a race to try to get me going without a trace. That's not what's happening. I realized they hit me with a car on the street called Trenton because it was treason by a woman whose name was Sharon because they wanted to take my shine. I was molested by someone named Sean. I just had a landlord for the past 8 years whose name was Sean. The person who molested me when I was a youth, his nickname uh, has the same sign and name as Sean Diddy, who's connected with this feet person who has the same sign as me. Pisces are connected to the feet. They be trying to do burgundy spells because I was wearing burgundy. I'm Nanny Maroon, was wearing a burgundy dress where I just left. They had a burgundy mannequin with no head on it. They think they're going to take my head off. People want to do these Burlington spells with burgundy on me and stuff like that. The backwards, burgundy backwards is rub. Burr, burr, burr. They got all these ops wearing Gucci headbands, Gucci shoes, Gucci bags. And Gucci man be like, burr, burr. They think they gonna burr me. But that's not what's really about to happen. They're not about to get this berry. You know what I mean? There's a lot of, just be mindful where you work. You think that you working for them, but they're working for you. They're really trying to, and I gotta be careful when I say the word you because it's connected to Yakub, who's my brother. They're trying to use your energy. It's a stronghold. That place that you're working on in is mocking. It's really your energy that they're banking on. And that's the stuff that I've been trying to relate. I'm not saying I'm done working with the ops or I'm done working. I'm actually about to get into some opposite energy that's about to come against me and the Most High and the whole world. Because as as in past lives that I lived, whether it was me in Asia, Africa, or America, that's what they're supposedly called now, whatever these names are. I have been put in positions where I've had to make compromises that weren't good for me and my nation. And I find that I'm doing the same thing, just like a lot of people who come to America from overseas to trade, even though they know it's going to be treason upon their land, they still do it because they're just tired of being oppressed by this by these mongrels. I'm from the Mon Valley. It connects to the month. It connects to Monday. Monday is connected to the moon. Moon is connected to Canaan. Can is the Sir, the cancerous energy that may be presiding still from me in my current and past life. That's connected to cannabis. Cannabis is connected to Anubis. Anubis is connected to Jack. Jackal is connected to Jack and Jill. Jill is connected to Hill. They was going up the hill with a shovel. So it's really getting real. And so what I'm really trying to do is not be like, oh, up. Because if it's outside of me, then if it's on this planet, it must be residing within me. What I need you people to know is that, they tried to mock me with the song Time of the Essence in Nigeria. Everybody's doing these one asset. Oh, I don't want to do that. Let's not get there. Let's not go there. I know in one of my shorts, I was making fun, but it's not really fun when I'm saying, oh, I was just putting on my lashes and everybody's trying to mock and do the Illuminati sign. But that's the 666 sign. That's the index finger, Jupiter, and Mars coming together. You know what I'm saying? And now they trying to put lashes on me, lashes on my back, trying to make me a slave. When I was in a Social Security building, while, they made it seem like all the money went to Fifth and Third Bank. Now that bank has recently closed. Bummaclot bank's closing. When you say Bummaclot, you're saying bomb. They got a lot of traditions in Jamaica, Jah, the Most High, Japan, Jah, the Most High, that is really trying to come against us. Maker, Pan, Pantheos, Pan not. So we really got to be mindful of, yeah, there was geishas who were children. It seemed like I was a geisha at some time. You know, they want to they want us to be gay. There's no Japan, geisha, Jamaica, reggae. Okay, they're connected, like I said. So we really got to be mindful of what's really going on and what we're really saying. Sending out love to Japan, sending out love to Jamaica. My energy is there. The Most High's energy, Jaw's energy is there. They try to come against us. The British tried to impose on both of those lands, tried to get people addicted to drugs, but don't let those drugs drag us, because they're really trying to rug us. They're trying to pull the rug up under us. And I'll speak more about the rug and the carpet and the past life regression. They say Cleopatra was delivered in a carpet to Caesar and everything like that. So, they have all these red velvet, red carpet spells, Hollywood red carpet things that are going on in Hollywood and things like that. And it's just so atrocious sometimes that I mock myself, um, just thinking about intentions of dressing up like my past life. They'll use that to try to come against me in this lifetime. They'll use it against me. So I want you all to be in the present, because that is all the times. That's why they have the word president. In the word president, we have the word sit, which is connected to Sydney, Australia. Australia is connected to the word August. We just had August Wilson Day. That's connected to, how I came into this existence. That's connected to autumn, autumn raw. We have the word, in the word autumn, we have the word mutt. They have a lot of biracial people and mutts that are for and against me. I come from that type of energy. They have this new song out that's like, I'm a mutt or something like that. So there's like people hating and stuff. There's like the mutt gang, the black gang, the white gang, the Nathaniel gang, the nigga gang. I'm not in none of those gangs. There's haters. I'm not gonna say there's good and bad people, because I have good and bad in me, obviously. That's why I call it the evil of life, and just came out with it, saying the things that I have done to hurt myself, and I'm going to continue to do that. I've written songs about it. Even writing songs on paper, like gel paper, got me caught up. Gel paper, those have similar initials to my mother's name and different things like that. And I realized people that was around us doing certain things was trying to be disagreeable. But I'm going to continue to talk about the things that they try to do. Speaking of butt, they try to take out Harriet, but they're not. They try to say Harriet Tubman is fake, but they ain't gonna take me out the tub. They trying to take me and whip me before I get out the tub with a switch. But that's not what's about to happen. I was out the SSI building, and some white woman said there were scars on his back, scars on back. That's sob. And backwards, that's boss. But you ain't gonna make my boss sob. That's the Most High and me. We both got that pack energy. You feel me? And they trying to separate Pac-Man and Pac-Woman, but we ain't having that. They think they gonna put us in a game. They think they gonna put us in a pinball machine. I was hit on Trenton and Penn Avenue, which is connected to Neptune. They trying to get us to try to turn. That person made, they trying to get us at an intersection where there's roads. There's orishas that are connected to the roads. And so with that, I'm going to say, this was the evil of live. Live is evil. We need to do things together. The animals and the ancestors are getting tired of me saying that. Let's try to cuss and fuss less and be more graceful with the stress that we're dealing with, because we're not alone. We have everything inside of us, and we will not be departed. We are united, even though they're trying to unite us. You know what I'm saying? So let's be careful about that. But let's just have higher intentions, but not too high, because we got to stay level. Like I said, they want to use as above, so below, or feet on the ground, head in the clouds. They was trying to use those spells. It seemed like they just made them for me. Like I said, they want to use peas, peacocks, parachutes. They think they're going to use these things against me, but I'm not having that. I wanted to come on here and talk about some of the things I am going through, and I will be back soon to talk about more things. Essence.